This is Vishal Gupta, and I'm here to talk to you about how you can manage your AWS keys using Fortanix Self-Defending Key Management Service. When it comes to AWS Key Management Service, there are two approaches to encryption. Number one is AWS Managed Keys, wherein AWS KMS manages the keys completely, automatically, and internally. As a customer, all you have to do is you have to turn on the encryption for your native services such as AWS S3, AWS RDS, and so on, and you don't have to worry about the keys. However, the caveat is you don't have any visibility into the keys and you don't manage the keys and its life cycle. To extend that approach, AWS KMS offers another alternative approach called Customer Managed Keys, CMK. In this approach, there are two subcategories. First category is where the key material is actually generated and owned by AWS KMS. However, you can control the key as a user. The second approach is you can bring your own key or you can import your own key material into AWS KMS and you can manage the keys. Regardless of whether you select the key material owned by AWS KMS approach or you bring your own key, you get to control the keys completely. However, there are a few subtle differences between these two approaches. Let's take a look at it. So when we talk about the customer master key approach, we call it the first approach where the key material is actually owned by AWS KMS and generated by AWS KMS. We call it native customer master key. So in that, of course, the key material is owned and generated by AWS KMS. Second one is the key material belongs to AWS KMS and cannot be exported by customers. So you cannot export the key material out because it is owned by AWS KMS. So you have to use that key material in a particular AWS region and account. You can cross-reference the keys across accounts, but you cannot take the key material out of AWS. Third is key material is unique to one region and account. So you can't have the same key material if you really want to in a different region or account. Last but not the least is that to pull a kill switch. Kill switch is an option you could think or imagine wherein that you feel that or you encounter some sort of breach that is happening in your account and you really have to stop your business and do some forensics. So the only way you can do it is you have to delete the key. You could disable the key, but then that means that the key material is still living inside AWS. And if you have some indicators that it could be an internal attack, you have to delete the key. But in this case, if you delete the key, you cannot restore it because once the key is deleted, AWS does not let you bring the key back if the key material is owned by AWS. Which also means that if you have data sitting in AWS that was encrypted by that key, you cannot restore that data because the key is gone. In order to counter those attributes of this approach, bring your own key offers you some advantages. So first one is you get to bring your own key material and you can securely generate that key material inside your FIPS compliant appliance such as Fortanix Self-Defending Key Management Service. Key material belongs to you and can be exported if needed. So if you are generating the key material outside, it's your choice. You can mark it exportable, and if you want to take the key out and if you want to use that key elsewhere in some other solution or do some other crypto, you are free to do that. Third one is key material is unique. However, it can still exist in different regions, in different AWS accounts, because it's your key material. You are completely free to import that into different regions and different accounts and so on. So it opens up a lot of flexibilities for your deployment and high availability and multi-site deployment. When it comes to kill switch, it offers you a great benefit because when you bring in your key material, AWS lets you delete the key material only while keeping the key with its metadata intact in AWS. So instead of deleting the key where you lose the key, you can simply delete the key material, which guarantees that nobody can access your key because there is no key material. But once you have done your analysis and your forensics and you are ready to go back to business, you can re-import the key material back into the same metadata and all your data can be recovered because your data knows how to access the key by the key ID or the key ARN and everything stays intact. So that's the benefit of having a bring your own key approach. So regardless of whether you go with the key material owned by AWS or the key material owned by you as a bring your own key approach, because we have seen that both the approaches are applicable to different scenarios. For highly confidential workload in the cloud, you might want to bring your own key. But regardless of your business necessities or requirements, when it comes to the lifecycle management of the keys, there are certain stages of the key that you have to be able to manage in a highly central and automated way. First is create key in AWS KMS. So if you want to create a native key in AWS, you should be able to create it easily and you should be able to track it for life. Bring your own key. So as we talked about that, if you want to bring your own key, then you should be able to do it very easily, because the bring your own key approach requires you to download the wrapper key, wrap it securely outside an HSM, and import it back. All that should be automatic, and you should be able to do it centrally and manage centrally. Delete or disable key, which means that you should be able to delete the key, you should be able to schedule the key deletion, you should be able to disable the key centrally, and so on, regardless of which approach you pick. Key disaster recovery is specific to the type of key when you own the key material, which really means is that if you delete the key material, you should be able to recover it from that state. Key rotation and manual rotation or automatic rotation. So this is also a cornerstone of key management. Whether you're doing key management on-premise or in cloud, you should have a full control of key rotation centrally. Last but not the least, multi-region, multi-geo, and multi-account key management, which means that how do you centrally manage all your keys if you're running your workload across many regions globally, and if you've got many accounts globally, and you got many geos, how do you centrally manage your keys? How do you apply policies centrally using a system that allows you to do it seamlessly? So with that, let's take different use cases one at a time. Fortanix Self-Defending Key Management Service lets you manage your entire lifecycle for the key, even if it's created natively in AWS KMS, which means that using our tool, you can generate the key inside AWS KMS. However, when you do that, you get two options out of all this actions that we talked about. There are two actions that you get when you generate the key inside AWS KMS using our solution. You are able to delete the key, which means you can schedule the key deletion, you can disable and enable the key, and you can rotate the key. These two you get. However, the key disaster recovery and the multi-region, multi-geo management you don't get, because that doesn't come with that approach. So with that, let's take a look at a quick demo. Once you log in to Self-Defending Key Management Service, you go to groups and you will notice that there is different types of groups that you can choose to do key management across. There are types of HSMs you can manage the keys in, and then there is a new type of group called AWS Key Management Service. So when you create a group of type Key Management Service, it will actually prompt you to select a region of AWS where you would like to do your key management, and you can pick up your region, say US East, and then you enter your AWS key, access key ID and access secret key, and then you save it. For the sake of the demo, I've created a group. Let me filter it by AWS. So I've created two groups, of one for US West 2 region and the other one for East 1 region. Let's take a look here. So once I've created it, and you can come back to the group and you can see that it's actually mapped to US West 2 region, and I've got my access key ID and secret access key here. You can test the connection, it's connected. Now let me also take you to my key management console inside AWS. So this is my Oregon region, which is US West 2. Let me go to customer managed keys. So you could see that I've created some sample keys. So in your case, if you start using this tool, you might already have some number of keys that you may have created using the CMK method natively inside AWS, or you might have imported the keys from your existing key management service. But when you come here, and all you have to do is you say sync keys. So when you will sync the keys inside SDKMS or Self-Defending Key Management Service, we will download the metadata of all your existing keys, and that point onwards, you will be able to manage all your keys from our tool without actually going to the AWS console. So let me sync keys. It'll take some time because there are a few keys over here. Right now we are scanning all the keys, and this is an asynchronous method. So if you've got a lot of keys, you can come back and you can leave the page and come back to the page. So it says that 7 keys were scanned successfully. So now let's take a look at security objects. So well enough, I've got 7 keys that have been scanned, and you see that the source is external because these keys are not generated from self-defining key management service. So otherwise it'll say Fortanix HSM, and I'll show you how that happens. So we don't own the key material, like SDKMS, self-defining key management service, does not own the key material. That's why it says external. That key material is external to this product. Here you see a triangle warning icon. It just says pending key deletion. So we scan all the status, the type of the key, the curve, and so if I click on the key, it actually shows me the key is scheduled for deletion AWS KMS. So I can easily go and say cancel key deletion from here. I don't necessarily have to go here to change the action or change it to enabled state. I can simply click on cancel key deletion AWS, and that will enable the key directly in AWS. So if I come here and let me see, what was the key ID? So we display the key ID and the key ARN here, so I can copy the key ID and type here, and I can say that. Now if I go here, should be, if I refresh the key, it says enabled. So it was pending deletion, but I am now able to manage the key directly from our solution. So you can see not only cancel key deletion, I can do a lot of other things. For example, I can disable the key. Right now you can see that it's enabled. I can disable the key right from self-defining key management service. So that's, you can manage the key as we talked about. You can delete the key, you can schedule the key deletion, you can disable, enable the key. So let's take a look at the key rotation. So now if I want to rotate this key, all I have to do is simply click on rotate key, and then there are a few options here. Whether I want to deactivate the original key after rotation, so it'll deactivate the key, or disable the key, the previous key. And I can put my description here, rotate the key to a new native key. And this option will show you that if you want to rotate out from your existing native CMK key to a key originating from our self-defining key management service, then you select this option and then you can rotate the key out. But before we do that, let me also copy. So it's actually, I'll copy the key ID. So this is my key ID. I'll rotate the key. What's going to happen as soon as I rotate the key, it will rotate the alias out from this key to the new key. So I say rotate key. So what happened, this is my new key now. But if I go at my key links, I'll see that this was my original key. So now if I go here, I would see one extra key. You see that the alias is gone. This was the older key that I rotated out, and now it's disabled. But if I go to customer managed key, and if I look at the new key, this is my new key. And if I copy my key ID or key ARN as put here, it will show me that this is the new key that I just imported as a rotated key. So this key actually got created, the key material got created inside AWS KMS as a newly generated key. So the whole idea is, as we discussed earlier, that when you're using this key in your services, you always have to use the alias ARN, because the alias ARN will always stay the same when we rotate the keys. So now if you set an automatic key rotation policy here, if I go here and I say key links, if I go to the previous key, go here. This is the new key that I just created a few minutes ago, and I come here. Now if I want to rotate this key, I can set the key rotation policy here, and I can say rotate this key every 10 days starting this 12 p.m. So once I save the policy, it will actually start rotating this key every 10 days. So you can see that it's all automated. You don't have to necessarily go to KMS console anymore, and you can manage your native keys directly from here. And even if you have new keys that may have gotten created directly from outside of self-defining key management service, you can actually come here and you can go to HSM/KMS link, and you can say sync keys. So if I sync the keys right now, nothing is going to happen because I did not create any key. Every key was created from here. So it should say 0 new keys have been added to adjacent group because there are the new keys. So that concludes a demo on the native CMK management from Self-Defending Key Management Service. In the demo that using Self-Defending Key Management Service, we can not only create a native key as a customer master key, but we can delete the key, we can disable the key, we can rotate the key manually as well as automatically. So now next, let's take a look at bring your own key, how you can actually import a key using Self-Defending Key Management Service by generating the key inside Self-Defending Key Management Service and securely importing that into AWS KMS in a fully automated way. As you also understand, we discussed earlier that when you bring your own key, then in addition to key deletion and disable and automatic rotation and manual rotation, you also get key disaster recovery, in which case you can delete the key material on demand and you can recover the key material right away by single click. In addition to that, you can also manage, you can import the keys across multiple regions, multiple accounts, and you can rotate the keys across multiple regions, across multiple accounts from a single pane of glass. So with that, let's take a quick demo. Group section. For us to be able to import a key or bring your own key, the step number one is we have to first create a key inside Self-Defending Key Management Service of type AES 256 key. So for that, all we have to do is we have to just create a key in a regular SDKMS group. So I already have a group called Cloud Source Keys, and I'm going to create a key here of type AES 256 key. And it's the way this is designed is that you keep all the source keys into a separate group, so you can use the same key and copy it to multiple accounts, multiple regions, even different clouds such as that support AES 256 keys, such as GCP, Salesforce, Snowflake, and any such SaaS or cloud service where you would like to use a key. You could also use the same key for Oracle TDE, for MySQL TDE on-premise. So you can have just one key that you want to use across multiple clouds if you want to do so. So I'll call it BYOK K1, and I'll say generate type AES 256. I'll also mark it exportable because this key has to be exportable because we're going to export it out and import that into AWS KMS securely. So generate. So now it's generated. So now at this point of time, we have generated a AES 256 key in a FIPS level 3 compliant solution, right? Step number 2 is pretty simple, that you click on this copy key, and copy key is a very generic functionality which lets you copy a key from one group to another. The only special thing that's happening here is that when I'm going to copy a key from a regular SDKMS group to a group of type AWS US West 2, I could actually copy that across multiple regions, but for the sake of simplicity, I'll show you how I copy that to a single region, how the copy key works. And when I say click copy, let me also add an alias of type of BYOKK1 is the alias name. And as soon as I say create copy, a new key will get automatically imported after following all the wrapping and securely transferring the key back to AWS KMS behind the scenes. Let me also go to AWS KMS in my Oregon region, and I'll put the alias name here. So at this point of time, there is no key with that alias, but when I generate the key, it sure will have. So I say create key, and this is what BYOK. I just brought my own key. So if I filter it and I put my fair enough, so I have a key with that alias, and it's enabled. So the key got imported. So you can see now that if I go to groups and my AWS US West 2 region, and I look at my security objects, I should see a new key. So this key got generated a few seconds ago, And it says that it's a BYOKK1, it's a copy key, and it copied at this timestamp. You can edit that, you can change it. It's just a label, it's just a key name. It just needs to be unique inside SDKMS. And when I go to key, AWS key details, I see that I've got scheduled key deletion like we saw earlier. We got source, so this is different. So now we see that source is Fortanix HSM because the source of the key is Fortanix HSM. It's not an external key. It was not generated by AWS KMS. Rather, it was generated by Fortanix HSM. And you got the alias ARN, the key ARN, and you got the policy that you can edit. And so now let's take a look at the disaster recovery scenario. So as we talked about previously on the presentation, that if you really want to pull the kill switch and you want to kill the key, you don't have to really delete the key. In this case, you have an option to delete the key material. So I can go ahead and delete the key material. And when I delete the key material at this point of time, if I refresh it here, it'll say pending import. It's already pending import. So it just means that now AWS KMS does not have the key material. So even if there is some hack or some attack that happened on your AWS account, there is no way anybody can actually decrypt the data or anybody can get access to the key because the key doesn't exist in AWS. Now, if you want to bring the key back into AWS KMS, simply you have to say re-import key material, and we have all the links, and we are able to track the key, and we can import it right there and then. So you saw that how we able to create a key. We imported a key into AWS KMS. There's a simple few clicks. We recovered the key. We delete the key material. We can also enable disable the key. So all that works as we have seen before. It's disabled now. If I enable it, it'll become enabled. Sometimes you have to refresh the key. It's enabled. So let's see now how we rotate the key. For rotation of the key, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is you have to go to the source key. What's a source key? You go to key links and click on the copied from. This is a source key. Now here, if I click on rotate key, it gives me an option of rotate linked keys as well. So I would select that, and now it shows me that which all places I've copied this key to. Right now I've only copied to one source, one destination, which is AWS US West 2 key. So I select that and I say rotate key. When I rotate this key, what you would notice that this particular alias will get moved from this key to a new key that we would import. Okay, so 4113 is the old key and the new key will come. Rotate key. So when I rotate the key, it says copied. I click on OK, and if I go here and I say BYOK1, say refresh the key. So you see the alias is gone because the alias now has moved on to a new key, which we just copied. So it's a brand new key, which we rotated. Now the way it works is that your services that you're using inside AWS, where you are using these keys to encrypt your data, you have to always refer to that from this ARN. So if I go back to my key AWS details, you copy the ARN from here, you use this into your services, and so when we rotate the key or we rotate it automatically, your services will always talk to the latest key material because the key ARN will never change. The key ID, the key alias ARN will never change. The key ID ARN will change because every single time we will generate a new key and import that as a rotated key, it will generate a new key ID. So it's as simple as that. So now you saw that how simply you can rotate the key, you can recover the key from by deleting a key material, you can disable the key, and you can pretty much do every single operation on the key from here in terms of lifecycle management that you could actually have done from AWS KMS console. So that concludes our demo on how we do the BYOK lifecycle management from self-defining key management service. We saw that how bring your own key works from self-defining key management service by simply creating a key and importing that into one or more groups. Each group could be mapped to a single region and an account and there could be multiple groups that could be mapped to multiple regions and multiple accounts or same account. And with bring your own key, you are able to delete the key, disable the key. You can do the disaster recovery of the key by deleting the key material and recovering it back. You can do the key rotation centrally across all your regions, and you can manage your keys from a single pane of glass across multiple regions, multiple accounts, or you call it multiple geos. So now let's tie all these things together. So what we just showed is that you manage your keys centrally, which means that you create, when you want to do bring your own key, you create a key into a central SDKMS group, call it a source keys group, and then you import that key or copy that key across multiple SDKMS groups. Now the SDKMS group could be of type AWS Key Management Service, which is depicted here as yellow boxes. And now once the key actually gets imported, it will go to a respective AWS KMS region, and the key could be tied to your services such as AWS S3. The second region, the key could be tied to AWS RDS or Amazon RDS. And now when you rotate the keys get automatically rotated across AWS KMS regions. All you have to do is you have to continue using the alias ARN, which stays always the same, and you will always get the latest key material. Now, the same key can also be used for doing your Oracle or Microsoft SQL TDE on-premise, which means that you can centrally manage a single key and could use the key pretty much across multiple encryption strategies. Now, if we extend that to a different cloud, now there's a group of type AWS Azure Key Vault, and the way each group is tied to, in case of Amazon, to a service account and a region, and in case of Azure, it'll be tied to Azure Key Vault and the region. So you can create two groups or multiple groups of type key 1, you select the key vault, and then second key vault, region 1, region 2, and similarly, you can use the keys that you're managing from self-defending key management service in the Azure PaaS services such as Azure File Storage or Azure SQL, and same thing goes that it's the same key you can actually use for on-premise Oracle TDE as well. So you can see that not only you can do the cloud key management centrally using self-defending key management service, but you can do the key management across your on-premise deployment, whether it's a private cloud, hybrid cloud, or a public cloud. So the next one is that using self-defending key management service, you not only can manage the keys, but you can also add controls on top of that. So you can restrict the keys at the source key level. What you actually noticed that the source key becomes very important key, because now if I go inside self-defending key management service and I delete the source key, then the key is gone from self-defending key management service, which means that if now you want to recover your cloud key, how would you recover it? But self-defending key management service gives you a lot of controls how you can restrict that, not just through RBAC, but even through quorum policies. We'll take a look at it. And then the geofencing and multi-region key control. So which means that, as you know, that we created a single SDKMS group mapped to a region and an account, and that group can have its own restrictions and quorum policy. Each group can have its own restriction and policies. You could say that US West 1 region, nobody should be able to disable the key. If somebody wants to disable the key, they have to get the approval approved. Similarly, if somebody wants to automatically rotate the keys, they can rotate it across all groups or across all clouds centrally. So let's take a quick demo on how do we control the access of these keys at various levels. So starting back from a group section, let's say, so cloud source key, this is the place, this is the group where we had our original source keys. Now there's a BYOK K1 and BYOK rotated key. Both these keys are equally important because these are the original key material. Now if I go here and I say delete object and I select these and I hit delete, the key material will be gone. And after that, I'll not be able to restore this key if I really want to delete the key material and restore it, or somebody deletes my key from AWS and I want to restore it. So how do we control that? So in SDKMS, it's a very simple problem for us to solve. So you go to the source and you'll see a policy section here. There's something called quorum approval policy. What I will do on this group, I will add a policy, and I will say, I'll just select one for the sake of simplicity, and I'll say one administrator. I can also say two administrators. From these, they have to be able to approve the request. So I'll select myself and I'll change it to 1 so that I can approve it. I'll select myself and I'll say save policy. And you can see that the operations that are sensitive that will ask for an approval here are destroy key, update key, and other operations. So I say save policy. It shows me that this policy will become active now. So I say save. So now if I come back to this group and I say group security objects, and I pick this active key and I try to delete this key now, it says I understand that quorum approval will be requested to delete the object, which is fine. But what's going to happen now if I delete the key, it say approval request successfully created. And you see this icon, it just appeared as an alert. If I click here, it is asking me that Vishal Gupta requested quorum to delete security object BYOKK1. Now, this approval could be sent to, it just sent to me right now, but it could be sent to other folks. So the other person who maybe other admin, he can take a look at it. He will say, hey, wait a second, what's happening here? I don't want to approve it. So he'll say decline, and I'll click on decline. Now he will say, this is a production AWS key, cannot delete, and I said decline. So what just happened here is that if I go back to my group and cloud source keys and security objects, the key is still intact because my request got declined because somebody else noticed that maybe it was intentional that I want to delete a production key by mistake, or it was a mistake. So if I go to audit logs, everything is getting audit logged here. So it said that user Vishal Gupta denied quorum approval request. So everything gets audit logged. Whatever, every single action I'm taking on my key here gets audit logged. So similarly, now this is the source key. Now if I go to my AWS keys, the virtual key, and here I've got this key that I just copied, and suppose I disable this key from here. Now when I disable this key, the key is actually disabled in AWS as well. So if I go here, I copy my alias ARN and I put the alias ARN here. BYOKK1. Okay, so this is my alias. It says disabled here. Now the problem is that if once the key is disabled, my crypto operations in AWS will be stopped. But I wanna stop that from happening if this key again is a production key. So it's pretty simple. I go back to this group now, which is my AWS KMS group, and I do create an exactly similar quorum approval policy. I say add policy. Similarly, I add one, administrators, I choose myself again, and I say save. It says approval policy, I save it. But now what's going to happen is that if I go to my security objects and I pick this pick another enable key, and now at this time if I try to disable this key, it'll ask me approval request successfully created. Same process, I go back here and I say that Vishal Gupta is requesting quorum to update security object, and I say decline because I think I want to take a look at it, what's happening. And I look at it that this is being disabled, it was enabled. Well, I cannot let that happen because this is a production key. It can impact my production workload, so I'll say decline. So again, I can say production key not authorized. Say decline. So now you can see that I go back to my groups, my key is still active, still enabled, and I was denied from making it disabled. So you can see that you have multiple tiers of control on your keys when you're using self-defending key management service. Not only you've got complete RBAC, uh, because when you log in, you have access to certain groups. As you understand, if you have been using the product, you have certain access to the keys. So you may not have access to the groups, and so you would not have access to the keys. If you have access to the keys, your group administrator can create a quorum policy, and based on your actions, it can be denied or accepted. So you can see that using Fortanix Self-Defending Key Management Service, you can not only centrally manage all your keys across your private cloud or public cloud, but you can also control at the most granular level in terms of what actions can be taken by whom and how you can control them through approval workflows and even using quorum policies. So that concludes the demo for the overall cloud key management using Self-Defending Key Management Service. Takeaways. Fortanix Self-Defending Key Management Service empowers you to achieve the following. It lets you manage and control multi-cloud keys in a completely cloud-agnostic way. As you saw in the demo, that you don't necessarily have to know how the key management happens in AWS KMS, how the key is imported, and how things are done. All you have to do is you just have to use AWS Self-Defending Key Management Service and generate a key and import the key and manage the key centrally. And you could do the same thing for AWS as well as for Azure. It also helps you migrate your workloads to public clouds while letting you keep the control of the compliance, such as FIPS 142-level 3. For example, you could be creating a key using our HSM to do TDE for Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle TDE. And you could actually import the same key into public clouds to protect your workloads in AWS and Azure. So you can centrally manage the keys and you can migrate the same workloads to public cloud as well. It empowers you to apply central control and audit the keys using quorum approvals and audit logs. As you could see that using the approval policies, you can manage who is allowed to do what, and you can see all the activities that's happening on the keys in central audit logs. Finally, it gives you a central kill switch that even if you want to pull the keys out from public clouds such as AWS, you can delete the key, you can delete the key material, and then you can re-import the key material whenever you want to import. So it gives you complete control and complete flexibility in a fully automated way. With that, thank you very much for your time and for attending this webinar. If you have any further questions, please send us or contact us at fortanix.com and happy to help you further. Thank you.